Your eyes finally open. Mother shall be pleased.
I remember you. The girl from the wilds?
I am Morrigan, lest you have forgotten, and we are in the wilds where I am bandaging your wounds. You are welcome, by the way. How does your memory fare? Do you remember Mother's rescue?
I remember being overwhelmed by the darkspawn.
Mother managed to save you and your friend, though 'twas a close call. What is important is that you both live. The man who was to respond to your signal quit the field. The Darkspawn won your battle. Those he abandoned were massacred. Your friend, he is not taking it well.
What happened to the Grey Wardens and the king?
All dead. Your friend has veered between denial and grief since Mother told him. He is outside by the fire. Mother asked to see you when you awoke.
I have some questions if you don't mind.
I do not mind. Take your time.
Are there any survivors besides us?
Only stragglers that are long gone. You would not want to see what is happening in that valley now.
Why did Terran Logain abandon the king?
I do not know who this Logain even is. Perhaps ask Mother of it.
Are we safe here? Where are the Darkspawn?
We are safe, for the moment. Mother's magic keeps the Darkspawn away. Once you leave, 'tis uncertain what will happen. The Horde has moved on, so you might avoid it.
Why'd she save us?
I wonder at that myself. But she tells me nothing. Perhaps you were the only ones she could reach. I would have rescued your king. A king would be worth a much higher ransom than you.
Thanks. I happen to be nobility, you know.
I stand corrected.
How did she manage to rescue us exactly?
She turned into a giant bird and plucked the two of you from atop the tower, one in each talon. If you do not believe that tale, then I suggest you ask Mother yourself. She may even tell you.
Got it. Okay. I'll take it. Think I've asked enough questions?
I agree. 'Tis time you speak with Mother, then be on your way.
Did we... No, we did not. I got like half a level to go.
I'll get on it.
Key required for that one.
You must speak to Mother, then be gone. You have an army of Darkspawn to avoid, and 'twould be best to get an early start.
Were my injuries severe?
Yes, but I expect you shall be fine. The Darkspawn did nothing Mother could not heal.
What about Alistair? Is he alright?
He is, as you are. I suppose it would be unkind to say he is being childish.
Very unkind. Those were his friends.
And you think they would encourage his blubbering? If so, they are not the sort of Grey Wardens the legends note.
Okay. But he hasn't been one too long. Why does your mother want to see me?
I do not know. She rarely tells me her plans.
Oh, thank you for helping me.
You were welcome. Though Mother did most of the work, I am no healer.
Alright, let's go.
I will stay and make something to eat.
Got it.
See, here is your fellow Grey Warden. You worry too much, young man.
You're alive. I thought you were dead for sure.
Gosh, how bad did I look? Takes more than a few darkspawn to kill me.
Duncan's dead. The Grey Wardens. Even the King. They're all dead. Oh, this doesn't seem real. If it weren't for Morrigan's mother, we'd be dead on top of that tower.
Do not talk about me as if I am not present, lad.
I didn't mean... But what do we call you? You've never told us your name?
Names are pretty, but useless. The chastened folk call me Flemeth. I suppose it will do.
The Flemeth? From the legends? Daveth was right. You're the Witch of the Wilds, aren't you?
And what does that mean? I know a bit of magic, and it has served you both well, has it not?
I mean, true. Flemeth, you must be very old and powerful. Go with that one, or do I go with 2? Let's go ahead and go with it. If you're Flemeth, you must be very old and powerful.
Must I? Age and power are relative. It depends on who is asking. Compared to you, yes, on both counts.
Then why didn't you save Duncan? He was our leader.
I am sorry for your Duncan, but your grief must come later. In the dark shadows before you take vengeance, as my mother once said. Duty must come now. It has always been the Grey Warden's duty to unite the lands against the Blight. Or did that change when I wasn't looking?
The land is hardly united thanks to Loghain.
That doesn't make any sense. Why would he do it?
Now that is a good question. Men's hearts hold shadows darker than any tainted creature. Perhaps he believes the Blight is an army he can outmaneuver. Perhaps he does not see that the evil behind it is the true threat.
The Archdemon.
What could the Terran hope to gain by betraying the king?
The throne? He's the Queen's father. Still, I can't see how he'll get away with murder.
You speak as if he would be the first king to gain his throne that way. Grow up, boy.
If
True.
Al Eamon knew what he did, he would never stand for it. The Landsmeet would never stand for it. There would be civil war.
He assumes everyone died, though. Perhaps we could go to him then.
I suppose. Al Eamon wasn't at Ostagar. He still has all his men. And he was Kaelin's uncle. I know him. He's a good man, respected in the Landsmeet. Of course, we could go to Redcliffe and appeal to him for help.
What about those treaties Flemeth gave us?
See? There is a smart lass.
Of course! The treaties! Grey Wardens can demand aid from dwarves, elves, mages, and other places. They're obligated to help us during a blight.
I may be old, but dwarves, elves, mages, this Arl Eamon, and who knows what else. This sounds like an army to me.
So can we do this? Go to Redcliffe and these other places and build an army?
I'm gonna use my roguish nature here, as long as there's some profit in it.
If there is better motivation for doing what is right, I have yet to see it.
It's always been the Grey Warden's duty to stand against the Blight. And right now, we're the Grey Wardens.
So you are set then, ready to be Grey Wardens.
I don't suppose you could offer any more help.
Now that you mention it, I do have one more thing to offer.
The stew is bubbling, Mother dear. Shall we have 2 guests for the eve, or none?
The Grey Wardens are leaving shortly, girl. And you will be joining them.
Such a shame. What?
You heard me, girl. The last time I looked, you had ears. Ha ha!
Thank you, but if Morrigan doesn't wish to join us...
Her magic will be useful. Even better, she knows the wilds and how to get past the Horde.
Have I no say in this?
You have been itching to get out of the wilds for years. Here is your chance. As for you, Wardens, consider this repayment for your lives.
Very well. We'll take her with us.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but won't this add to our problems? Out of the wilds, she's an apostate.
If you do not wish help from us illegal mages, young man, perhaps I should have left you on that tower.
Point taken.
Mother, this is not how I wanted this. I'm not even ready.
You must be ready. Alone, these two must unite Ferelden against the Darkspawn. They need you, Morrigan. Without you, they will surely fail, and all will perish under the Blight. Even I.
I understand.
And you, Wardens, do you understand? I give you that which I value above all in this world. I do this because you must succeed.
She won't come to harm with us.
Allow me to get my things, if you please. I am at your disposal, Grey Wardens. I suggest a village north of the wilds as our first destination. 'Tis not far, and you will find much you need there. Or, if you prefer, I shall simply be your silent guide. The choice is yours.
We have our first mage now. I have some questions.
I may have answers. Ask.
Are you really Flemeth's daughter?
'Twas she who raised me, and thus I consider her my mother, born from her womb or not. 'Tis what you meant, yes?
It's just difficult to imagine her...
Young, married, pregnant. Who said she was any of these things? I certainly did not.
Have you never been outside the wilds?
From time to time. I have been to the village I mentioned, watched its people, and pondered what curious beings they are. On occasion, I purchased goods from the village merchants. There I spoke with men a little. There they stared and knew me as an outsider. Mother wishes for me to expand the horizon of my experience beyond the wilds. Even she was not born here.
Is that what you want?
What I want is to see mountains. I wish to witness the ocean and step into its waters. I want to experience a city rather than see it in my mind. So, yes, this is what I want. Actually, leaving is harder than I thought, however. Perhaps Mother is right. It must simply be done quickly.
Tell me about the village to the north.
'Tis a small place of little consequence called Lothering. No more than a stop along your Imperial Highway where travelers purchase goods from local farms and smiths. I would go more often were it not for the town's chantry. It makes the village particularly intolerant and unpleasant for a stranger such as me.
A chantry? And they never in all this time thought that maybe you were a witch?
Of course they have. They even called out their Templars once. They found nothing.
Is there any reason to go to Lothering then?
I mention it for its tavern, where travelers gather with news from other places. 'Tis small enough that our appearance might go unnoticed. Beyond that, 'tis close, and I know the way.
Alright. So what's the plan to get past the Darkspawn?
The real question is how we are going to get your friend past the Darkspawn, is it not?
That's true. We can sense the Darkspawn. Conversely, they can sense us.
I don't sense any.
You won't right away. No. It takes time. We should be able to sneak past
Okay.
smaller groups, but larger ones, or particularly intelligent Darkspawn, will always detect us.
Mother has given me something else for them to smell instead as we pass by. 'Tis important we head out of the wilds, however, not farther in.
The Darkspawn are camped farther in the forest?
They come from underground, like an eruption. They broke through deep within the forest, and that is where they will be most concentrated.
Yeah, they broke through under the tower too. What skills do you have exactly?
I know a few spells, though I am nowhere near as powerful as Mother. I have also studied history and your Grey Warden treaties.
Can you cook?
I can cook, yes.
Wow. Never mind him. You don't have to cook.
You missed your chance. Now it's charred rabbit from here on out.
No more questions.
Farewell, Mother. Do not forget the stew on the fire. I would hate to return to a burned-down hut.
Bah! 'Tis far more likely you will return to see this entire area, along with my hut, swallowed up by the blight.
All I meant was...
Yes, I know. Do try to have fun, dear.
Alright. Alistair approves 4, Morrigan approves 4. Quite a few quests.
What do you need?
You want to talk about Duncan?
You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did.
That doesn't mean I don't mourn his loss.
I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, not when so much is riding on us, not with the blight and everything. I'm sorry.
No need to apologize.
I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of.
What about the other Grey Wardens?
I don't know. I have no idea what the Grey Wardens do for when they fall in battle. Have you had someone close to you die? Not that I mean to pry, I'm just...
Well, my entire family was murdered just recently.
Oh, of course. How stupid of me to forget. Here I am going on and on about Duncan, and you... I am so sorry. Thank you. Really, I mean it. It was good to talk about it, at least a little.
Maybe I'll go to High Ever with you when you go.
I'd like that. So would he, I think.
Alright, 4 more approval.
What do you need? Ask away.
What can a Templar do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
So Templars use magic themselves?
You could call it that, sure. The Chantry doesn't look on it the same way, however, since really our talents only work on mages. Against a regular person, I'm just a guy in a metal suit.
Have you hunted many mages?
No, I never actually became a full Templar. Duncan recruited me before I took my vows. I was only present during one harrowing. The ritual that they test the mages with. It's not unlike our joining, really. And just as deadly. The girl they tested, she had a demon put inside her to see if she could resist. And she couldn't. We had to end it quickly. I have to say I didn't have much interest in becoming a Templar after that.
Seems like the Templars could run the Chantry.
You'd think that, but it's not so. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
So you were addicted to this lyrium?
Thankfully, no. You only start receiving lyrium once you've taken your vows. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templar's talents more effective, or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me. What do you need? Ask away.
Can you teach others to be a Templar?
I suppose I could. But I really would rather not. When the Grand Cleric let Duncan recruit me, she made me swear never to reveal Templar secrets outside of the Chantry. I'd rather not go back on my word.
Very well.
Ask me later, perhaps. Maybe I'll change my mind. This is not something small you're asking, after all.
This is usually the way that you can unlock the specialization for you and other characters, but
What
since
do you
the
need?
DLC, I have access to all of them without needing to fulfill the requirements in the story, which in some are based on decisions that aren't necessarily decisions you'd want to make.
Ask away.
Tell me about Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
Let's go down the list. Where are the nearest Grey Wardens from here?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
Is there a headquarters somewhere?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt.
Most
Beyond
likely.
that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfells, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
So what happens now that there's just two of us?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us.
No pressure. Will we need to start rebuilding the order?
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be two of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
Alright, what if we just left?
Just left? You mean just left Ferelden? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the blight would grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere.
So it's saying right there, we don't know how it is yet, but it says that only a Grey Warden can defeat the Archdemon.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need?
Right. Say between each of those, in case I
What do you
mess up
need?
something really bad in conversation.
Ask away.
How do you become a Grey Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
I mean before that.
Let's see. I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
Okay, what skills might those be?
Well, it wasn't an easy life, you know. I don't know whether or not you've noticed, but I'm not exactly the Chantry type. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
Why'd the Grand Cleric want to keep you?
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
Don't start crying again, please. Wow. He was a good man.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
More approval?
What do you need? Ask away.
So you said this Arl Eamon raised you?
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
That would explain the smell. I thought you were raised by the Chantry.
Oh, there you go, listening to me again. You'd think you'd have gotten past that already. I ended up in the Chantry, sure, but I didn't start there. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arl Eamon wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Why did he send you off to the Chantry anyway?
Arl Eamon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, the new Arlessa resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
Wasn't it inappropriate for the Arl to raise an orphan?
Probably. It was just a kindness he did to a woman who had served him anyway. I didn't sleep on silk sheets in the keep or anything. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Isle came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
You were young.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Kaelin's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Alright. Keep raising that approval.
What do you need? Ask away.
Why have you remained a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
I thought Templars wore heavy plate mostly.
That's just in public. In private, we have these yellow and purple tunics, right? Much more comfortable, and you don't break the beds when you jump on them during a pillow fight.
Do all Templars make these jokes, or just you?
Oh, you know, between all the guilt and the hours spent in solemn prayer, any good Templar or priest is just bursting to tell a few good jokes when the opportunity arises. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
I do really want to know, yes.
Poke, poke, poke. Tell me everything about your life, Alistair. All right, if you insist. It's not like we have anything better to do, right? The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Arl Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
I mean, that's something. What did you enjoy about the training?
The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
My home was taken over by Earl Howe.
Right. Stupid of me to ask. I'm sorry.
Keep forgetting
We
that,
won't
man.
always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way.
They can be rebuilt.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now. What do you need?
Do we have anything else?
Ask away.
Probably it.
The time has come to leave the wilds. Do you not agree?
See anything? Didn't find a single thing. Alright, well, at least pet him. Alright, so let's concentrate on her now. Should have some equipment for her. Don't think we have a new staff. No, no new staff. didn't I have... Yeah, mage boots. Her robes plus 2 magic, 10% cold damage. Would give her that. I mean, I hate the look of it, but oh well. I mean, not exactly the best. Looks very out of character for what she was wearing anyway, but can't pass up that piece. That was just too good. She have on. Restricted to her. Could give her some gloves. We have here only one pair of gloves. Keep her fatigue down low enough. Oh yeah, she's our mage. We want to increase that damage. And yeah, less hostility. That's restricted to him. Alright, that should be fine. Now, what does
What
she
now?
have? She has a lot of stuff. Frost weapons. We want that going. Penalties to attack and defense. Vulnerability, less magic resistance. Yeah, she comes with the shapeshifter as her specialization. So I don't really use them, but Lydia, spider, and then she inherits the abilities. Web, poison spit. I just like to use her magic much more. Got mind blast. Stuns enemies caught. It's close range though. Let's get this frost back up. Okay, let's actually get a look in here, see what she has. I'm gonna have to put points in that. Okay, targets already asleep when the spell's cast cannot resist its effect and will take massive spirit damage. Drain life. Okay. So what do we want to do here? I want to put her as ranged, that's for sure. Damager. Debilitator. Vulnerability hex wouldn't be that great at the moment, the amount of moves I have, if I'm not using her for damage as well. So I think it would make him vulnerable to the fire damage on my weapon. But I think for the moment it's just best to have her focus on damage until we can get her some more tactic slots. And I did just buff up her damage quite a bit with all this new gear. Let's put the threaten on.
Have you not left yet? I hope you are not hanging about for some stew.
Could you answer some questions?
Questions, questions. One would think a Grey Warden would be more interested in action.
Can I ask about your magic?
What good would it do you? You are no mage. It is sufficient that I have passed on my knowledge to Morrigan, and I pass her on to you.
Like a worn dress or an old pair of shoes.
Are you still here? You cannot give them away, apparently.
How long have you lived in the wilds?
Since before I was wrinkled and old. You may think it strange, but I was once young and beautiful, just as Morrigan is now. Yes, men desired Flemeth then, and some even killed for her.
Good to know. Oh, wow. 2 and 3 is terrible. You don't seem happy about that.
I am not, nor was I then. It dictated all that followed. But enough. You have your task to complete.
What will you do once we're gone?
Have a moment's peace for once.
I hear the peace of the grave is eternal.
This is the thanks I get for feeding you and putting up
gosh.
with you for this long. Ah, may your child one day treat you the same.
Feed me, she says. Without me, I swear, she shall be caked in dirt and eating tree bark inside of a month.
Any advice?
About the Darkspawn?
Anything, really?
Then hear this. I laugh at a world full of stupid humans who ignore the Blight's evil and abandon their vigilance to chase mortal goals. Remember, it is up to you to destroy the Blight. Pray not for someone else to destroy it. It will always nip at your heels.
Alright, very helpful.
Then we are done. Now, if you will excuse me, I have some dinner to eat.
Do we have anything? Not looking like it.
Have you not left yet? I hope you are not hanging about for some
You'd come
stew.
with us, you know.
I prefer to remain here. Considering what the world has done to me, I have already done more than it deserves.
What's the world done to you?
That is between the world and me. Your business is elsewhere.
But you're more powerful than we are.
It is not a matter of power. No one person in all of Thedas has enough power to stand against a Blight. Were that the case, sending you two would be quite the jest. What is important is that you are both Grey Wardens. Your task is to unite the land, inspire its men, and turn them from their petty politics to face the archdemon. In that, you are more powerful than I by far. I am but an old woman whom the world has largely forgotten.
Okay.
Yes, you should. You have a whole lot of Darkspawn to get past before you sleep.
Alright, I believe with that, we are ready to go.